You know, as a race car driver, I've won the 12 Hours of Sebring, won the Mickey Thompson Championship, 24 Hours Daytona, IndyCar races, been in position to win the Indy 500, Daytona 500. I've won, you know, races throughout the United States and the world. And to go and challenge manufacturers like Mini, Volkswagen, Peugeot, Mitsubishi, Toyota, with a small shop like what we operate out of North Carolina is pretty cool.
2005, Robby Gordon wins 2 stages and finished 12th overall. 2006, Robby Gordon out after stage 9. 2007, 1 stage win and 8th overall. 2008, 2-car team, 2 stage wins with 7th and 10th overall. 2009, 2 more stage wins with 3rd and 13th overall. 2010, 3-car team takes 2 stage wins, 8th and 20th overall. 2011, Robby Gordon out after stage 4. 2012, after 8 stage wins, Robby Gordon disqualified under protest. 2013, Robby Gordon finished 14th overall with 3 stage wins.
The road to Dakar takes teamwork, has tons of personalities, and obviously there's drama that goes along with it.
I want to say it's the first step because we're leaving, but it's probably 20th or 30th step because we've spent the last couple weeks pretty intensely getting ready for the 215 Dakar.
It'll be good to get the truck packed up and away on Monday. We can then concentrate all our attention on building this race car, or both these race cars.
So we're just gonna roll out of the shop here and head down the road. It's about a 6-hour trip, and get this thing into the port of Jacksonville, Florida.
As far as time goes, we looked at the calendar and we've crossed a lot of numbers off so far, and there's not many left. It's going to be exciting to get to Buenos Aires on the start line and see this car roll out of the truck.
And I think the center console has to happen before the dash. Intercoms, it would be nice if they go in the dash, but it would also be nice if they're easily accessible. They don't care. As long as it's their approved fire extinguisher, and make a note of that, find out what it is approved. We used to have them. They're little white ones. They might still, is there one in there still? If there's one in there, let's just make sure we have that one with the current sticker on it, recharged, ready to go. That's what that one is, so the FIA standard one. And I'd like to see one in his side too, just in case I'm knocked out and he gets out before me and I'm on fire, he can at least put the thing on me. I want to think worst case scenario. If we plan for the worst, then the best will always happen.
Timeline-wise,
yes, my biggest timeline that I have is ASO will be here between, look at Christian's email again, between the 25 and 27, I think, are the days he's here at our office. I think you guys leave about that time, right? 25th, so you're going to be gone when he gets here. This thing needs to look as much like a race car as we can have it look like a race car.
This program brought to you by Toyo Tires. We are Toyo, all or nothing.
The Dakar Rally is the toughest form of motorsport that I've ever competed in. I've done 10 years of the Dakar for some of the top teams in the business, with factory support and with non-factory support.
Stage and drama indeed. Sights in the car, Michel Perrin, co-driver, also in the car, and it was going like so. He had broken his shot. And how close was Danny Roma? No further. The medical helicopter soon landed. The Frenchman, co-driver Michel Perrin, Sights still with his pressure.
As a driver, The Dakar is probably one of the most challenging events you'll ever do. It's different than 24 hours Daytona or 12 hours Sebring or 24-hour Le Mans or even Baja. Because at the Dakar, you never know what's around the next corner.
We're following the rules that Robby's laid down, and it's exciting to actually start bolting things to the car and putting this vehicle together.
What else? You got anything else on the list?
Not for today. There's a lot on the machining list and there's a lot still on the fab list. The Vegas race is happening at the moment, and we decided it was better in the best interest of the program that 3 members, including myself, stay behind and keep working on the vehicle. The rest of the shop is empty.
While everybody was out having their fun in Vegas and Baja and gambling all their money away, I was here at the shop working on the Gordini and got a lot of stuff done. Took about 10 steps forward.
We were meant to be going to Vegas as well, but we opted to stay behind and get stuff done on this because we're running out of time really fast. So we're hoping to still make Baja, which is probably next Wednesday. I think we have to leave. So we're working every day, probably 14, 16 hours a day like we have been. No time for anything else, just trying to get as much done as possible before Baja and then after, and then before we leave back for Australia again.
We're here from 7 till 10 o'clock nearly every night. The hours just fly by. It's racing, it's a workshop environment like this. You get on a roll, you get on a project, and you sort of lose track of time, and next thing you know, it's dark outside.
To come out to Vegas, help out with the stadium super trucks. I'll go back to work on Dakar vehicles in 2 days. We had to leave Adam and Gavin and Andrew Robeson back there to work on it.
Multitasking it is part of it. You got to multitask. I mean, doing emails on my phone, ordering stuff on the computer in the office trailer, just doing it the best we can. Exactly. Still have to manage Dakar parts, still have to order things, and getting emails daily of things that need to be ordered. And it's a lot of work to keep things in order and remember things that have to be ordered and keep everything in your head of what has to be done.
Last year, the inside of the interior of the truck was, it's so hot down there anyway. I mean, it's like 113 degrees. We're in the sand dunes. It's humid. And it was so hot inside the cab. We had the exhaust running right next to us. And then the AC went out. And then it was so dusty. Every day, we'd come in and Rob and I would look at each other and be like, am I as dusty as you? Because you're horrible. And seriously, we were just covered in dust. And we're like, man, we've got to take a couple years off of our lives just from the amount of dust we've been held for the last 15 days.
Just a little dark. See that face, dude. Ron said he couldn't believe it. He said it looks like he was supposed to get 400. No.
All right, day 3. You know, not going to make any excuses here. Had a decent run. Started 28th, 29th, passed a ton of cars. Lost one brake line, which cost us a little bit of time. And then from there, had a pretty clean run. Looks like a lot of guys had punctures, flat tires. Can't say enough about my Toyota tires. 0 flats so far, all of 2013, and 3 specials of 2014. So thank you guys.
So I know that Rob's improved that stuff, and that just a little comforts, it's gonna make a big difference, you know, when you're doing that stuff for 15 days in a row. There's advantages to our crew, absolutely, and there's some disadvantages, you know. Our guys, by the end, are just be rugged. I mean, literally, our guys they have to travel all day. By the time they get there, they barely get there in time to set up the camp, and by then they're working all night. And they're gonna work all night and get up and do the same thing the next day without any sleep. So our guys just run rugged. You got the big teams that have so many guys that, you know, the guy takes each corner, and they have so many different guys to do stuff that helps them. But our guys Robby always seems to get a good group of guys that are like some of the hardest working people in the industry. And they've worked on the car in North Carolina, they've prepped it, they work crazy hours in North Carolina. And by the time they get to the car, they know the vehicle's so good, they can just work all night. And they're so close, and they just know each other, and everyone can kind of read off each other because they prepped it, that it ends up actually working out really good.
We just got back from the Stadium Super Truck race in Las Vegas. That was last week. Come back to the shop, check on what I'm missing out on, and make sure things are going in the right direction with truck number 2. And truck number 1's getting all the love it needs to get. And today's Tuesday. We'll be leaving tomorrow morning at 5:30 a.m. for Baja 1000. It is crazy right now. We do have a lot going on. I mean, there's so many projects going on right now, it's hard to keep track of everything, but somehow we just always find a way to make sure everything gets done.
So today's been a success. Brown & Miller, the company doing the wiring and plumbing, came over with the new engine harness for the vehicle. We laid it through the car, made some adjustments and some measurements, so they can now go back and finalise the whole wiring harness itself.
We build harnesses for race cars. This differs in that it has to be more rugged. It takes an awful beating compared to a car that's just, you know, going around a paved track or a paved circuit. The wire sizing needs to be right. We want to save weight, but at the same time we want to be careful that everything is you know, rugged enough and beefy enough to take the beating. We'll be particular about the types of connectors we use, types of connections we have, the way they're mounted, and physically attached to the vehicle. For this harness here, something of this magnitude, time-wise, it's going to take a couple 100 hours.
Just knocking at the door to win the rally. I mean, we knew that, you know, it was possible for a U.S. team to win the whole thing. You start looking at 2010, 11, 12, 13. I mean, they all just start blurring together. 'Cause coming into this race as an American, it's not the easiest, you know, thing to do.
Y un saludo a todo el Perú, de Ignacio Flores, piloto que va a llevar la...
All right, today is Sunday. We got back from Baja about 2 o'clock in the morning. We came in the shop, grabbed vehicles, dispersed the guys. Pilots took off. We took them to the airport this morning at 10 a.m. And then we met back with the key guys on the Dakar project of a plan so that Monday morning, when the rest of the guys get back from Baja and the fabricators have been working back at the shop, everybody knows exactly what they're supposed to do, because now that timeline of Dakar shipment of the race car is coming down. Christian's going to be here on the 27th of November, and I'd like this car to be pretty much done for him when he gets here, so that when he does his inspection of the chassis, engine, transmission, you know, basically the rules, fire extinguishers, safety equipment, all that stuff. I'd like to really have it all buttoned up so when he's here, instead of getting what he got a year ago, a bare chassis saying this is where this is going to be, this is where that's going to be, I'd like to have it sitting on tires for him when he gets here so he can say, okay, great, I don't like this, I want you to change this, or I'm cool with this, and we just flow right through tech at Dakar. Saying that we led the Baja for 840 miles, and when I said you get behind and you put yourself in a position to drive the truck harder, we broke our rear gear at 941.
So we've returned here to Charlotte, to the workshop just after our Baja 1000 experience. We landed at 2 o'clock this morning, or got back about 2 o'clock this morning. So we've just come in today, it's Sunday, with Robby and a couple of the guys to go over another checklist, another work list of what needs to be done.
Can't reach the gas pedal, it's got so much room to the dash and turn it.
It's designed to go on this side.
Keep them. Give me if you want them, huh? Taking my toys. Now that we got a lot of our systems in place, now we're able to finalize the small details of the system. And there's a lot of things that come into play. Shifter location, where it shifts, how far your hand goes forward, AC ducts, switches, dash, tire inflation, GPS compass heading.
Look at everything, and he loves to think as he goes, he sees something, he's like, oh, let's change this, let's do that. And we document it all, write it down so we have a direction to go. He's not an engineer, but he's more of like an Imagineer.
Yeah, we're 1 month away from car shipping, and you know, do I have concerns? Yeah. More of the concerns are, is the car gonna get done? For sure. Is it gonna be perfect? I believe so. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna push our guys to make the best possible piece of machinery we can take down there. Car 1 I'm not too worried about. It's car 2 over there behind the wall that I'm worried about. The goal is to build the best pieces of machinery that this facility can build, because we're not just racing against race teams, we're racing against manufacturers. We're going up against Mini. Peugeot's coming in with a big effort this year. Toyota. You know, there's just so many competitive cars out there. And when you look at Mini with their 8 cars, and then you look at Toyota with probably four South African Toyotas, 4 different Toyotas, and then the Peugeots with 3 cars there, you're looking at 20 cars that can truly win this race. You're looking at 20 cars that can truly win this race, and we want to win it. Right at this point, make 2 separate points.
Right now we're working on the dash fitment. We're making sure that all the components that are going to be in the dash are fitting, and so that it's easy to see all the greens and gauges that he and the co-driver have to see during the rally. We've got our sheet metal guy, Pork Chop. He's been a great help to us. He does really good work, but we also have to work with him to make sure that all the stuff that I'm going to need to get to during the rally, like the ECU and the PDNs, and if we need to service them or anything, that they're easily accessible.
Chassis 2 is definitely going to be a bit of a project, but it won't be as bad because after Chassis 1 is fully put together, Chassis 2, it's just plugging the same pieces over to Chassis 2.
But with chassis number 2, is it's supposed to be an identical car, and technically we should be able to build 2 of everything and it bolts right on this car. You know, that's the correct mentality to have. Unfortunately, in the real world, it doesn't always work out like that.
Chassis 2, it will get done. It will, one way or another, we will get it done.
Talking to Robby this morning.
So that means you have to come
We've
here,
either got to
you
cut
gotta
that
off, you have to run it down that way, and then we talked about
building them from the
two
end.
little bolts that bolt up. Okay. This body's been on car 1, car 2, car 1, now it's back at the body shop. The reality is it's coming really good.
Kind of come up with a game plan on what the scheduling is and try to get all this stuff done. And basically he wants me to have one of them ready to shoot, ready for paint by like the 2nd or 3rd of December.
There's a panel there at the front. I was looking from my eyes to the panel, but wanted to move the GPS as high as possible below my eyesight. What I'm trying to do there is I'm trying to make sure that I got this as high as I can, but not block little rocks or bushes and stuff like that. I want to be able to see over the front of the car the best I can.
Just putting the rear ends together for the car number 1, cleaning up the housings, making sure there's no paint in any of the holes or on the mating surfaces where everything lines up. New studs, new nuts, new centers, new hubs, new axles, new everything.
The HST is a rear-wheel drive car, 2-wheel drive, 4 9-inch rear end. You know, basic old school heavy-duty rear end is what you want, and it's the way we go.
It's going to change when it comes back.
Do you have a 5/8? Go ahead and put it down, Dom.
When there's so many parts involved in a build, it's really important to know what you've got and where it is. So essentially what's behind me is a build kit of the Dakar vehicle. We lay it out in sections of the vehicle, sort of front to rear.
This is the part that's so different than Baja. You know, like at Baja we have a one-day race. We put on a full-face helmet, get on with it and go. Here we have to go for 15 days, you know, including the rest day, but it's 15 days. You have to manage yourself. You know, one day without air conditioning in the Baja 500, yeah, it's hot on Diablo Dry Lake or one of those dry lake beds, but down in Argentina, it's 125 ambient every day.
It's November 21st. It's a Friday afternoon. We've just taken delivery of the race engine from Redline Performance in California. They've done a really nice job as usual. It's been built, dyno tested. We got some good numbers off it. Obviously then have to modify it, put our own fittings on and what's required to fit it into the vehicle. So that's what I'm doing at the moment, and we should have it ready to go into the car late this afternoon.
We got the engine in today, which was good, but had some things that were wrong with it, unfortunately.
So not one part of this Dakar build is going to be easy. I've got to stop expecting things to show up ready to go in the car.
So these are shocks from King. We got anodized in the Robby Gordon orange and black, match the Speed Energy cans and the outside of the car. So it should look pretty trick once it's all together.
We just had a meeting in the fab shop. It's the end of the week. We wanted to go over what was left to do on chassis number 2. It's our goal to get chassis number 2 done. It has been the whole time. Of course, we've talked about, you know, being scared, running out of time and whatnot. We've looked at the list. It's actually getting down to a very minimal amount of stuff. The biggest thing that we have to do is just make sure that the parts that actually physically bolt onto the chassis are interchangeable between both cars.
I mean, Dakar has its highs and lows. You know, we started 2 years ago Dakar after coming out of a year that we thought we were going to win it, going into 13. Got stuck on day 1, rolled on day 4. From day 4 home, we've been the fastest car. So as far as speed, I know our car has it, but what I got to do is not make any mistakes.
because of the fact that I'm leaving, I'm really just trying to pass on all my ideas of the build, because I know I'm not going to be here.
After Gavin gets that header wrap, we get these headers wrapped up, bolted on the engine, we can drop this engine down in here and get it all fitted up and hopefully finish dressing this thing and getting it ready to run.
In Dakar Rally, you've got to run a production-based engine. So basically, what I have here in front of me is a LS7 engine that is production-based, all production components.
Going pretty good. It's busy, but it's way better than last year.
With regards to Adam and Gavin having to go back to Australia, it's going to set us back a little bit, but I think the communication from projects that they were working on have been handed off to other team members. We've got a good group of guys here at RGM that will be able to take this ball and run with it. The car's got an engine in it, it's got a transmission in it. It's pretty much been plumbed 100%. Wiring has all been laid out, diagrammed, spec'd. AC system has been redone. It's all in the final assembly stages of just waiting for a couple parts and pieces and components to come in. But I think you know, the rest of this week before Thanksgiving and right after Thanksgiving, after ASO's here, we'll make the adjustments, whatever ASO might want us to change, and then do our final, you know, fit and finish and a couple days of dyno testing, and then drive the thing to the grocery store.
All right, that's it for now. We got the gear all bolted in. So this morning, our Australian friends left us. They had to go back to Australia.
The air was coming off the front grille. It actually wasn't landing on the windshield. It was landing about 6 inches back on the roof. And this was done through, I would call this poor man's wind tunnel. Tape a bunch of stringers to the car, 55 miles an hour, 70 miles an hour, 80 miles an hour, 90 miles an hour, videoing it, watching where the streamers were going. And we found out that this package here is what we tested with, is where the air needed to be. Now, obviously, we're getting ready to do the final build. Even though the style is changing a little bit, the function, height, and where the air is in the same place. So I'm confident about what we've done here, that we'll be able to keep this thing cool.
We're getting all of our big parts in right now. Throwing a lot of parts at the car right now. A majority of it is in the car. Engine's in, transmissions is in, rear end. A lot of the wiring is done now. If we miss this one small thing here, it could strand him out in the desert, you know, 2 months from now or a month down the road. And we can't have that. So everything that's going in the car right now has to be paid attention to, you know, more than you would anything else. Everything has to be correct. If you don't, you're going to be screwed.
We are continuing to go through our list of tasks to get done today so we can get this thing fired up and on the ground. Yeah, if we get it fired up by 5 o'clock, we'll get to go home at that time. Otherwise, we need to stay until we get it done. Even though tomorrow is Thanksgiving, ASO is still coming in to check the chassis out. They must not celebrate Thanksgiving over there in France.
Right now we're working on the motor plate here, and guys are putting in plumbing, oil lines, water lines, just kind of everybody on a different project, trying to get her done.
If you stop it back there, then it's his fault. You put me in charge, and I would take responsibility. You're in charge of bodies. There you go. So make sure they get hung right next time. All right, you're gonna make this work, though?
I'm gonna make it work.
Okay.
Do you see what I'm saying, Ron?
Here. I'm gonna make it work.
I'm gonna make it work.
Yes, we can.
We're gonna make it work.
Overcoming every single obstacle to, one, finish the Dakar with this many days of racing, this many gnarly sand dunes, and these tough competitors that we have to race against. Said about 30K back, there was a large river.
a rumor of a Thanksgiving break for Thursday and Friday, but I'm not sure how true that is. We'll see.
We've got a new third member here that we're working with, and seem to have an issue in the spline area. We can get the axle to start on one side of it, but not on the other one. So, you know, we don't know if there's an issue with the broach when it got splined, or a diameter issue. We're not sure. We've tried different axles as well. So, just kind of at a point here where we need to figure it out and do something different, I guess, because this isn't going to work right here.
If I find a straight or a 45, we'll give you either end.
We're looking really good. Unfortunately, we had a hiccup with our rear gear today. Have to send that back. Luckily, I have another one coming in beginning of next week for car 2. We'll have to go on the primary now, but we're gonna be fine. We're gonna be just fine.
Just a lot of different things, so it takes a lot of time to get this stuff squared away. We've got the guys from Brown and Miller Racing Systems here. They're helping with the plumbing and the wiring, so it's nice that it's one unit that we get those products from.
We got oil in it. If we get the wiring guys here on time in the morning and get the wires in, we'll definitely be running.
Yeah, you've been waiting for me all day.
Well goes on the second car. If you can keep the smoke inside, normally everything's okay. If you can keep the smoke inside the wires, it's okay.
And the driver.
And you can keep the smoke inside the driver's ears, you're okay. There's only one place smoke can come out of, and preferably it's not too dark a smoke. It's the exhaust pipe over there.
And then there's a bolt.
But once the smoke comes out, you've got a problem.
Right now we're getting closer to starting the race car for the first time. Really exciting.
Dustin, we got a couple of liters.
We're putting fluids in the car.
The closer we get to starting, it's like there's more and more and more parts that need to be done so that we can fire the thing and run it.
You got throttle? Okay, full throttle and back.
It's pretty much Thanksgiving, and we're working on getting a few software bugs out of the system.
So now, today I came over to the US to have a visit to Robby Gordon's place, to his workshop, see the car for the Dakar race in January. And there are 2 points. First of all, the main topic is the safety, and so we have a look to the roll cage, to the fuel cell, to all the seats and belts. And the second point is to have a technical inspection on the compliance of the regulations.
I just want them to be comfortable with what we're doing, and I want the competition to know that we're coming to play for real, and we're, you know, it's an open book. With regards to ASO and their inspection, I think it's great that they come here, because I'd much rather find something that Christian doesn't like, or what they feel is maybe unsafe, or not fitting into regulation. I'd rather know about it 30 days before we have to actually roll it through inspection, because I have time to fix it if that was the case. And I'm sure he'll give me a report when we're done of what his opinion is. I think he likes the car as a package. I think it's a good package for South America.
Monday afternoon here in the shop, December 1st. Got the final say-so this morning that we're going to Barbados with 3 of our stadium trucks. Pulled Bobby and Steve off of Dakar over here and shifted them over to back to SST. Had to prep 3 trucks that are leaving by tomorrow night for the Barbados Race of Champions. It's a really cool event. It's very awesome for us to get to be a part of it. Unfortunately, it does take away from our Dakar build, but you know, we're a multifaceted shop, Guys are many talents here. Have to shift back and forth. That's what we have to do.
Flew in here Tuesday evening and made it to the shop Wednesday morning. The Gordini was looking pretty good. A lot of stuff was done to it. Thing was sitting on the ground. Transmission was out of it in Hummer 2 getting mocked up. So we got that back yesterday, put it in, and our goal is to have the thing running by this evening so we could have it on the dyno for Friday, Saturday. And there's a few things that still need to be done. There's actually a lot of things that still need to be done.
Chassis 2 is leaving tomorrow night, Friday night, to go to powder coat. We'll have it back Monday morning. And then it's going to come over here in Bay 2 and get assembled.
One of the first tasks that I'm doing since I've been out here is getting the air inflation system put back together. Putting all new parts in, making sure that we don't have any failures. It's pretty simple. It's just a way to put air in the tires and take air away from the tires. When Robby's in the desert and he's on hard packed dirt, then your air inflation, you want your tires normal air pressure, so you know he gets full traction. It helps with rock punctures. When he gets in the sand, if he was to keep the tires inflated, then he doesn't have as much traction. He just bury himself or not go anywhere. I mean, just, be spinning the tires. So we can deflate the tires from inside the cockpit, gives the tire a bigger footprint, and lets him move through the sand without getting stuck.
We're trying to get everything back together again to go on the dyno. Most everything that we're doing right now is the final time we're doing it, so we're Loctiting and torque sealing everything.
Now we're starting to go together for final on a lot of stuff, and we're gonna spend a couple days on the dyno the next 2 days, Friday and Saturday. So the car has to be pretty much on the ground with all systems working. Doesn't need to be 100% finished race car, but wiring will be getting into its very final state today. Plumbing will be in its very final state today of everything, all the new stuff. A few items that we did last week that still need to be changed because they're either an inch too long or an inch too short, and it's tugging on wires. And as we or you assemble things, we see that we have some interferences. And it's the same way when you do every race car. You can draw it on the computer, but when you come over here to do it live, it's just different. And doesn't make a difference if it's an Indy car, Formula 1 car, or a Dakar car heading to Dakar. So like I said, we're just doing our final fit and finish and making sure that all the systems are a go.